Hey everyone, this is not what I meant. I'm Anudeep, and how many times I have been told to watch this show? Like, I don't just watch Attack on Titan. Every single one of the avid fans, like my friends, have told me to watch Attack on Titan, and very boldly enough, I just like never come around, to watching it. Came around to watching it. I'm not pretty sure on the grammar on that. So till now, that happened. I watched the episode. Yeah, so what happened was that most people who recommend me shows don't really articulate well enough as to why I should watch it. They say it'll blow your mind away or just watch it because, I can't spoil it by giving you, you know, tidbits about the show or the classic yet slightly toxic in my opinion. Or if you haven't seen this, then what are you even doing with your life? I mean, okay, I have a life. I'm just living it. I haven't watched the show. Just cool it. Okay? But not a word about the show at all. They'll come at you with this, like, it just blow your mind away. You have to watch it. It's all the rage right now. But not a word about the show. What's the plot? What's the concept? What's the genre? Like, nobody told me about this. So this one time, I happened to confront one of the people who suggested me AOT, and this was happening for the nth time. And I said, I understand that you think it's a great show, but why do you think it's great? I mean, I can't just take a word that will blow my mind away. I need incentive to start something. And I think that's true for this day and age with streaming sites just, overflowing with things to watch. And it's not like TV where you're, surfing the channels and just happen to stop at something by mistake and, just end up watching it. No, you have to choose what to watch. And you need something more than it'll blow your mind away. It's the best thing to watch. Yeah. I mean, of course, I could just search the plot, but if you have watched something, just tell me why should I as well. And be eloquent. So the person, went on to tell me about the plot, and I got to know that AOT is about humanity being trapped behind walls, protecting themselves from man-eating titans who are these giants, and the title of the show, of course, gives away what's gonna happen in the show, like Attack on Titan. So, and I'm all here for it. Awesome plot, knowing that you're at the mercy of something out of your control. And so a month later, here I am, after watching the first episode on Attack of Titan. Yep, I had a lot to say. So this is basically unfiltered reaction to what went on in my mind while I watched it. The episode opens with this kid, Eren. He's a little dude, and he's looking upwards, and and they see this red, fleshy, bare muscle hand like a man without skin. Except he's like 100 meters tall, and because these people are like short, because these people are like normal sized, I mean that's what I think is there. So yeah, so there's this Game of Thrones type of wall, and the village people are looking behind it as to like, what the fuck is happening, and they're looking at this man who's like looking over at the wall with them. He's almost godlike, except that he's so freakishly scary. What animation! I mean, wow! And he's just looking at this crowd of people, just observing them. Why isn't he doing something? Is what I thought. I mean, he's just standing there, looking all scary, and these little dudes are like, um, Eren, who I think is the protagonist. There's I think it was his narration at that point, and he says, that day, humanity remembered the terror of being ruled by them, the humiliation of being kept in a cage. Chills, literally chills, goosebumps. I totally replayed the scene again, and it was such a beautifully haunting shot. I mean, that was a moment of silence, and it was a moment of silence before utter panic, when you're just like absorbing the monstrosity of the fact that you're absolutely fucked. And the show has only just started. I mean, I'm 1 minute into the show, and this is kind of like the first 30 seconds, I think, and And it was at that point I brought a hand to my face and just, covered my face with it. And that's literally how I watched the rest of the episode. Because I have a canker sore right now and it hurts a little bit. Ow. So the scene cuts to a couple of people running. They look like they're on the outside. And they were outside. They were outside of the wall area, so it's kind of like Hunger Games that's happening right now. So I'm totally sure that they're gonna get eaten up. But the scene cuts again, and then the theme song starts. So about anime theme songs, it's kind of like a general rule of thumb. Thumb of rule, kya hota? It's a rule of thumb that they're gonna show what's gonna happen in this series for that season at least, and here's what I gather is gonna happen. So there are some varieties to these giants, and most look like naked giant babies, fleshy tummies, not like zombies, but definitely they share that enthusiasm of consuming human flesh. And then there's this group of humans in the mix of the theme song, and probably they're the ones who attack the Titans. I mean, somebody has to, right? They're the heroes. And in the opening scene, there were probably a lot of people in the safe zone, before the theme song starts. So I think a lot of them die. My prediction is that these Titans breach the safe zone because he was literally standing outside. So, and like only a few people are left, and there's no safe zone anymore, I think. And this is going to be like Hunger Games. With me spectating at them from the Capitol building. No, just kidding. But probably the humans would find a way. Hope is a great thing, Red. Maybe the best of things. And no good thing ever dies. Shawshank Redemption for the win, yep. I'd also like to add that this theme song is not very memorable. I mean, after one play, Death Note, Assassination Classroom, and oh my god, Tokyo Ghouls Unravel. They're pretty memorable after just one listen. So Attack on Titan wasn't very memorable to just rock and that stuff is happening. It wasn't very memorable. So I think after a few listens, I think I would like it. But for now, no. Attack on Titan, no. Your theme song is not that very good. Sorry. Yeah, so there are some very interesting conversations that happened in the episode. So the first one was I think they cut the scene, and in the scene, like the first conversation that struck out to me was that Eren and Mikasa. So Eren is that boy, and Mikasa is his friend, his sister. I'm not really sure at this moment. And they're coming back, collecting firewood or something. So probably they're not very advanced. Because the whole village is kind of looking like, very French in that sense. And some people are looking very French as well. I think they have taken some inspiration from French animation at that point. There are, of course, Japanese elements. I'm not going to say that they're talking in Japanese and that's the Japanese element. No. Of course, their clothing is very Japanese, but, the houses, it's a very dense area behind the wall. Like, it's very densely populated. And you have these people who are like, they are manning the gate. But in this scene, Eren is coming out from the outside of the wall to in the inside. And so I'm not really sure. I mean, the Titan was standing outside. So there probably are like more walls. And I need a blueprint for that. So basically, Eren, the young boy, he sees this group of guards and they're like drinking, and he tells them off like, why are you drinking at the job? And the guard, whose name is Haynes, like he comes across as that what do you say, useless, lazy, not very interested in doing his job at first impression, if I'm gonna say. But when he says this dialogue, I'm sure it's a very good dialogue, and it brings depth to his character, and he's not as stupid as I think he is. So Haynes says that as long as everyone thinks of us as useless and just fattening up and, not doing anything, we're safe. Because we are like the wall protectors, I don't know. And we're the guards, right? So we're safeguarding you guys. And if you think we're not doing any job, then you're safe. And it's when we start fighting that it'll be trouble for you guys. It'll be trouble for all of us if we have to fight, because then you'll be attacked. I mean, this guy knows that in the event of being attacked by the Titan, they as humans would be inadequate. I mean, they would be out of their depth. And here is when I realized that the opening scene has not happened yet. I mean, it took me some time to realize that, okay, they have set up the shot like that. So, because it has not happened yet, because people are like, we don't really know what their thing is, the creatures. They know how they look like. They surely know how they look like, but they don't know what their thing is. I mean, what are they, how do they live? And how are they breeding, or what is their form of civilization? I mean, they don't know anything about them. They just know that they exist and they need to be safe behind this wall. So they know they would be inadequate in terms of war. And yeah, so they also tell like the wall is 50 meters high, which I think is not that high. I mean, people can scale it. And nothing has happened in over 100 years. So that's kind of... I mean, I would be panicking a lot if I was in their situation. But I think some people do panic. Some people are like in denial about what's their reality. I mean, because they're literally stuck behind this space. And they know there's land outside. There are amenities outside and, things that they can explore, but they just can't go outside. So yeah, I'm definitely liking how they have set up the episode though, because I loved the first scene. Just because it was so ominous and imminent, and I see that it was a trap for me to fall in, because now I have to watch. I have to watch the build-up, the scene of security, the sense of security these people have. Just, I need to watch it shattering. I come across as a sadist, but I just love when they show this stuff and shows that you have that. I'm just not putting it into words. That literal thing. Everything that apocalypse happening. That you always have this. We're gonna be fucked someday. I think it stems from the fact that dying alone is such a lonely. Obviously, it's a lonely thing, but if everybody is united in this experience of being surviving, they have to they're united in this experience of when they have to really focus on their survival instead of their own squabbles among themselves. The fucking civilization, the economy. They're focusing on their survival, as humans, and that is something, very... I think that would be something, realizing that you are a species among many. You're not just a human. I mean, you're not just, ruling over this world. There are forces outside your scope to understand, and scope of understanding, and you're a human right now. So, yeah, it's just amazing. So I have an incident to share here from my personal life. I mean, so I was working in our university's lab, and I was holding a measuring cylinder in my hand, which is made of lab-grade glass. There's a lot of glass in such labs. I mean, obviously breakable. And obviously you know how to handle the glassware, having worked in the lab for a long time, and you take precautions. Now, I am aware and I'm conscious of the fact that I'm holding this measuring cylinder in my hand, and out of nowhere, a funny little thought, almost a premonition, crossed my mind, my vision. A single thought that said, Anu, this cylinder is gonna break. And the next thing I see is that it's falling sideways on the table and it breaks. And this happens for real. And I just start laughing because, it was kind of a self-fulfilling bias. I mean, I didn't actually do anything to cause it to fall, mind you, and it just did, just when I thought it would. And so here are these people who have walled themselves up from the rest of the world of titans and giants, just stewing inside, leading lives in a confined space with this imminent threat looming over them that any day now they'll be dinner meat, they'll be doomed. So Haynes, the guard, says that, and Erin replies that we're safe. I get that we're safe, but we're not better than cattle. Which is also true. I mean, they're just walled up. They're not exploring anything, and that's just how he feels. So he wants to join the Survey Corps. The people we saw in the opening scene. I'm not watching this episode with you, so yeah. So the people I saw in the opening scene, they're the Survey Corps, and they go outside to do recon. Yeah, that's the right word. Yeah, okay. So the second conversation that happened, one of the things that really stood out to me was an exchange between Eren and his dad when he reaches home. And his father, who's the doctor for the kingdom, for the village. I mean, what? I don't know. I don't know what should I call it, because, the guards are pretty, looking like knights in that sense. They have swords and they're fancy long hair, blonde hair. That's why I said they look French, because their eyes are even like that. And the houses are because I'm conflicted between the houses. They kind of look like they're from the Three Musketeers. That scene when D'Artagnan is staying with the Musketeers, and the houses are kind of like that. Yeah, but then there is also that scene in Kung Fu Panda 2. Yeah, Kung Fu Panda 2, where Pooh and that what's his name? What was the guy? Okay, and then there's this wolf, and there's a chase sequence through the village, and one of the villages in China, and yeah, it's kind of houses kind of look like that as well. I mean, it's not very Japanese. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so Eren meets his dad, who's the doctor, and he says that he wants to join the Survey Corps. And yeah, so what happened was, before this scene, the Survey Corps have, and the whole troop of them has, have come inside the village on the wall. And they've obviously set up the scene to show how cruel it is outside. And they've taken the cliche trope of showing a mother crying when she finds out that her son hasn't come back. And he's probably eaten, obviously he's dead. Yeah, so what Attack on Titan, the show, I think has added on this cliche is that they inserted a moment of exposition into the scene to tell the viewers that even though the Survey Corps has been going outside for a long time, they still haven't find out much about them. And the leader of the character, he says that, all the information, they haven't collected any information, because the mother asks them, why do I have a problem with this word? And so she asks them that, at least tell me that he has been useful to humanity. And that guy says yes. And then he says no, because he realizes that no, then we will have been dying for vain, because they haven't really collected any information about them. And then he's pretty sad about it. So I think, yeah, they have done a good spin on this cliche of, mother crying, because obviously they want to let the sentiment set with the viewers that, oh my god, it's so cruel, the people are dying and they have to stay out inside, and they're living on borrowed time till they find out a way to get reach their walls. And yeah, they've obviously set up that scene that way. But I like that they have spun this cliche into something that is useful for me to watch if I'm gonna, invest my time into the story. Okay, so I think, yeah, it was a refreshing change for me to see in that scene. So points for AOT for that. So Eren and his friend Mikasa, I think, I said I don't know if she's his sister, but later he says in a scene my parents to her, so I think she is not his sister. I hope, I have my fingers crossed that there is no love angle or something between them, because that would suck. Yeah, so his parents find out his intention that he wants to join the Soviet Corps, and though his mom is like, "No way, I'm not gonna let you go," his dad says, this wonderful line that curiosity about the outside can be stopped by lectures. I'm paraphrasing here, but that's what he basically says. That, I mean, I could lecture you about, the theory about the dangers of going outside, but if you have curiosity, I mean, about what the world looks, I can't do anything about it. It's like so deep. I mean, practical experience or theory in a lot of cases in real life too. And I'm more positive that I'm gonna like the writing in the show. They have added a comical scene as well, with what happens that Eren is outside his house and he sees his friend being bullied, and he runs towards the people who are bullying him, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's Eren! I mean, what's he gonna do? I mean, he's just one and we're three and we'll just take him." I don't know what his problem is. And you have Mikasa who is running behind him, and then they see Mikasa and she has this like very stern expression on her face, and they're like, "Oh my god, Mikasa is gonna come and she's gonna beat us all." So then they run away, and then Eren reaches his friend and he's like, "Okay, I saved you." And the friend was like, "No, Mikasa saved me," because they ran away. So I think they wanted to be it to be a comical scene, but it didn't play out well. And I hope they don't try it again, because so what happens with anime is that mostly they show physical gags or something like that. I personally am not a fan of comedy in anime, because it's kind of, I think that is based on culture to culture. And I do like when it's very intelligent, or if it's super over the top, super lame, super melodramatic, and they actually acknowledge that it's super melodramatic. Like that scene in Death Note when he says that I'll take a potato chip and eat it, because it's so over the top. So that kind of things are very, very funny. But I've seen Psyche Kill, which is another comedy anime. I mean, I'm not saying AOT is a comedy anime, but I hope they don't. I hope they fall in one of the two categories that I mentioned, or it's gonna be weird to watch it, because I'm not really sure how the comedy would be in the show. The animation just emphasizes on horror and the macabre of it. So yeah, I mean, I was not expecting them to, inserting that thing in it. So what happens then? Mikasa, Eren, and this ominous, scared-looking guy, I forgot his name, so they're sitting at the embankment of some lake or something, and Eren is going on about that, I want to become Soviet Corps, I want to join the Soviet Corps, and Mikasa is like, you shouldn't, because he saw what happened, and Eren is, pretty angry as to why Mikasa told his parents. I mean, why did you tell my parents that I'm going to join it? So, yeah, that scene played out like that, and the scared, ominous kid, he's just in his own zone, and he says that, yeah, we haven't been attacked for some 100 years, but that doesn't mean that we won't be attacked today. And that's the measuring cylinder moment, folks. That's the moment when Earth shakes and they just run to see the wall, and there is that red, fleshy hand from the opening scene. I just love that. I mean, I just found it. It was amazing that when that happened. It was really amazing when that happened, and they're like, Eren is like, "Oh my god," and it just happened. And then there's the guy, there's the whole scene that happened in the opening of the show, and he's just standing there, and then he fucking kicks the wall. The Titan kicks the wall. He's super strong, obviously, but he has this whole, a group of smaller giants following him. They're not his height. I mean, I think they're gonna go into what's the variety of these titans. So he kicks the wall, and then there's this hole in the wall, and everybody runs because they're just coming inside, stomping everywhere because they're super tall. And Aaron realizes that his mother, his own house, is in that pathway. Everybody's running behind to the inland. They have shared the map of their safe zone. Safe space, lol. Safe much? And they have shown there's this in wall. It's called Rose and Lena. I think it's called Lena. I don't know. I think I'm gonna say Lena. Sorry, Eori fans, if you're listening to, and I'm not correct right now. So it's Lena. Then there is Rose, and then there is Maria. So the outside wall is called Maria, and then the Titans have breached that wall, in my opinion, as to what I gather from watching the show. And Eren is running towards his mother. It's they have used the cliche. I'm gonna say okay, that's fine. I'm gonna forgive them for this because obviously it's a crazy scene they have set up because all these giants are coming and you're like in the midst. It's not the moment has passed when you thought when you were absorbing the monstrosity of what's gonna happen. It's not scary anymore. It's just panic. It's just it's not scary anymore. It's just you have to save yourself. You have realized the gravity of what's happening right now. People are going to die, and you're just running to save yourself, and that is your motive. That's your mission. That's your objective right now, and everybody's just running inland. And what happens is that Eren and Mikasa they run opposite. They run towards the wall because that's where his house was. And he sees that his mother is trapped in the rubble, and she's like, "Save yourself," or that. The whole conversation is tried and tested. And they have to give backstory to this Eren guy. So I'm like, okay, that's okay. What I loved about that scene is, that is the point where I first noticed that these characters have been drawn in a certain way, because they have very well-defined outlines in a very comical sense. Not a comical sense, I mean, they have very well-defined outlines, a sketch pen kind of thing. And yeah, so you have Eren, who's a human kid, and he's been outlined with this sketch pen kind of thing too. If you see the animation, you will get what I'm talking about. And then you have the Titan, who's well outlined. So I think they have done this to emphasize the difference in their sizes and to tell that okay, they're just humans and they're completely powerless. And I love that. I mean, the animation is great for that matter. What happens is that okay, so Haynes comes at that point to save the kids, and then he's like, this family has done a lot for people in general, and I'm gonna pay my dues. I'm gonna fight the Titan who is coming towards. And then he sees the Titan standing in front of him, and I'm just thinking in my brain, it's like, don't fight it, just don't fight it, just run away. I mean, you don't have to be a hero at this point. And he just sees the Titan with his sinister smile, and he's just like, the Titan is not, that's what I said, they're not zombies, they do have brains, and they would show what kind of people they are. I'm very curious about the Titans right now. And he sees this sinister, smiling giant standing over them, with the bob cut, for that matter. And he's just standing there, and he's just like, yeah, you're just gonna get fucked, and I'm just gonna eat you. And Haynes turns back. And I'm like, wow, you did actually turn back. I didn't expect that you would. I thought he would be like a stupid hero, but no, he's intelligent. I'm like, okay. No, yeah, I'm pretty sure that they're gonna kill him off some point, because the audience would go, and would be attached to him. He would die, I'm pretty sure, like later, and he would cry tears or something. But yeah, he did turn back, and then he picked up Mikasa and Eren, and then he runs off with them. He's like, no, fuck, no. I need to save these these kids. And then he runs, and the mother is like, I also like that scene. I was like actually very surprised when she says, "Don't leave me." I mean, she doesn't say that within their earshot, but she says that, and that's the first time I've seen actually that a person is dying in that poignant moment, that they're not very egotistical or proud of themselves, that okay, fine, at least my children are safe. She's like, I don't want to die. She actually acknowledges that fact, and she's like, please don't leave me. And I think that brings the beauty to the episode, because it's ending. I mean, I know the end is close for this episode, and she actually, encapsulates that fear people have dying, and it was nice. I mean, I'm saying nice in the sense, okay, in the story wise. I'm not a sadist that way, please. So what happens is that she's dying. Why she's dying is that she's trapped inside the rubble, and then the Titan scourges through the rubble and picks the mother up, and Eren is watching this, and he's like, please, no, I need to go back, I need to save her, and the Titan eats the mother, and then there's this blood shower at that point, and then the same dialogue from the opening scene is that plays again. He says that day humanity remembered the terror of being ruled by them, the humiliation of being kept in a cage. And that's the end of the episode. And that's the end of the first episode. I'm actually pretty excited to watch the rest of the series. Okay, I understand why people would say that it'll blow my mind away, but definitely I needed the incentive, because I would not have watched. I mean, I'm not really into fantasy shows, for that matter, and I think I do enjoy the gore and horrific animation they have done in the show. I do also enjoy the writing. Let's see how it would go. And the wall breaks down, and they retreat. They have retreated to the inland. Let's see how they would attack on these titans. So yeah, that was it. That wraps it up for my rant about watching the first episode of Attack on Titan. If you haven't watched the show, and if you happen to listen to this podcast, then I told you about the first episode. I haven't watched the rest of the show. No, I just watched one, and then I just went on my laptop and I just wrote my feelings on it as to, I felt like recording this. And then my next episode is gonna come out soon. I'm talking about anime history in it, and it's titled as Once Upon an Anime. And I thought, I can't make that episode if I haven't watched Attack on Titan. I mean, people would be like, okay, you're talking about anime, you haven't watched Attack on Titan, because I have seen Naruto's first episode, a couple of episodes of Naruto. I have seen One Piece, but I thought I should watch Attack on Titan as well. So yeah, I have watched it, and it was actually nice. Okay, so so that was it. That wraps it up for this episode of This Is Not What I Meant. I'm Anudeep, and thank you for listening. And make sure to check out my older episodes. I think this rant went on for a long time. Okay, I'll go. Bye.